So I was looking back, I was thinking about the last decade and some of the interesting stories that have come from real estate. I feel like not enough people actually share these stories. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you how I helped a friend of mine with a $1.6 million budget purchase a $2.3 million house. So this all happened. This all started back when I was 21 years old. And at that age, the thing that I was looking for is I was looking for some sales experience, foot into entrepreneurship. And I had decided if I can sell $20, $30, $40, $50,000 items, that would be pretty crazy. Can you imagine selling a $50,000 item? Car sales, let's go. So I decided I'm taking my graduation suit, this really ugly, unfitted, off the shelf somewhere suit with my hideous, ugly old man loafers. If I could only give you guys, paint this visual for you, that's what I'm showing up with. So I made my mind up that morning I was going to drive dealership to dealership to dealership until I had myself a job. Little did I know, and this is going to come and help me in the future, little did I know that in car sales, if you have a pulse, they'll hire you. But I didn't know that. I was very insecure. I was so scared and terrified even going up there, but I parked the car. I got greeted by a gentleman at the sales floor, and I said, I'm looking for the manager. I'm trying to get a job. He said, cool, let me introduce you. He walks me over to the sales manager, and over the next 45 minutes, I proceed to ask the sales manager question after question after question about himself to take the eye off of me, and this tactic worked awesome. He shared with me everything about his joy and passion for wakeboarding, his cabin, his holidays with his family, and 45 minutes went by just like that, and I had myself a job. So this is how I met my client. Fast forward over a decade later, quite a bit over, actually almost a decade later, I get a phone call from my friend, and he says, we were acquaintances, we had worked together, but we weren't in constant communication. So I get a phone call from him, and he says, hey, I would like to purchase some acreage so that my kids can grow up on acreage. This has been a dream of mine. Okay, cool. Now we're excited. So he figures if he sells everything he has, house included, some toys, some savings, takes the money that's coming in the future that he knows from his industry that's coming in, he could come up with about $1 million. Okay, so the mortgage approval comes in, and $1.6 million is what he is approved for. That means $600,000 mortgage, $1 million down payment. Pretty substantial, especially for back then. Now the issue is on a $1.6 million budget, the idea of what he had for his dream property and the funds, the gap was monstrous. As you can probably relate with most people that are looking at real estate, what it is that you want always costs a couple $100,000 more. Isn't that the case? So we start shopping. Mortgage broker, he brought in approval. Here we go. A few months go by, and he's starting to feel really down. Like this is not going to be happening. We can't find what we're looking for. If we find the land we want, the house is a tear down. The location is bad. I need to do so many renovations. My wife is going to absolutely hate this. There's no way I can convince her into moving into this. And one day I'm sitting there and I'm going, how the heck are we going to find him what he's looking for? It doesn't exist. Okay. Erase all of the search parameters. Let's see everything that's listed in Abbotsford. And my focus was I'm going to look specifically into just rental income. What property on the market has the highest rental income? Let's forget about the price. I stumble upon this 5-acre property, about 5,000 square foot house, 2,500 square foot suite, carriage home, suite, double car garage, carriage home, 2,500 square foot, 3-bedroom, triple car garage. And I'm going, we could probably get about $7,000 of rental income on this property. And I'm doing the math, and I'm thinking that would cover the mortgage, and this is doable. $2.5 million. So I sent him this listing, and the words that I got back over text were, "Are you sniffing glue?" Well, that is a fair response given the fact that approval is here, and this is what I'm showing him. So eventually I convince him, I say, hey, rental income, etc., etc. Let's have a look at it. Let's just see if it's possible and we'll come up with a plan on this. But I think this could work. We have a look at the property. The property has about 80 dogs on the property. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 dogs in every room. Piss all over the ground. The whole house just smelled like piss. But it was a big, beautiful house. The owner was a dog breeder. Great. We decide we're going to try and pursue this property. Mortgage broker that he brought in, we send him the file, we send him the details, we negotiate actually quite a bit of time for him to come up with a subject removal period, do his due diligence, do what's called market appraisals. The bank's going to want to come in, appraise each of the residents and figure out how much rent can this bring in that we can then attribute towards a mortgage. Different banks will use 50% of that income, 80% of that income, 100% of that income. It depends on the bank, it depends on the lender. 5 days before subject removal, we get a phone call that this is not going to work. The approval is not going to be coming in on time. And we have heard from the listing agent that there's another offer that's in backup position. There will be no extensions. If I'm remembering this correctly, it was a few years ago. That's how I've pictured the scenario. But either way, there was no extensions. It wasn't possible. My friend at the time refused to go with my mortgage broker, and eventually, after 100%, this is not going anywhere, he's decided, cool, we'll use your mortgage broker. We've already lost this house anyways. This is not going to happen. Imagine the thought process. He's drug his wife out. He showed her this property. He sold it to her. This is going to be the future. Andrea says it's possible, and then boom, no go. This isn't going to work. So in 5 days, this mortgage broker, and I'm going to give her a shout out because Kelly Mann, you are the reason that all of that came together. She did all the market appraisals, which I believe were 3 market appraisals, the house appraisals, start from scratch, from zero to finished. In 4 or 5 days, she had this approval lined up on the day of subject removal, and we were able to put this deal together. Now, with the rental income on that property, not only was he able to buy a $2.5 million house that we purchased for $2.3 million on a $1.6 million approval, but since he's moved in, he's never paid his mortgage. That has been covered by the tenancies. And that was one of my favorite stories over the last decade of how I've been able to help come up with some creative ideas to put a deal together and get somebody from what they thought they could get into like a whole new universe of house.